Algebra 1 Lesson 70. This is just going to be a quick overview about how to solve inequalities by multiplying or dividing, especially when we're multiplying or dividing with negative numbers. Now remember, when we are solving our inequalities, our goal is to get x by itself, or the variable by itself, on the left side. So in this case, if I have 1/2 x is less than or equal to 8, I am going to, in this case, because I have 1/2, I could divide by 1/2 or multiply by the reciprocal. It looks to me like multiplying by 2 would be easier, easier to see, and we get x is less than or equal to 16. So we can graph that on a number line by saying, 16 in the middle, surrounded by consecutive numbers, and we can put a closed dot on 16 going to the left, showing those numbers that are smaller than 16, but also including 16. So we got x by itself on the left side of the inequality. Now, when we're multiplying by a negative number, we have to flip the inequality sign. So in this case, if we have negative x over 5, well, we've divided by 5, so I'm going to multiply by 5 on each side. And I get negative x is less than 25. Unfortunately, that didn't get us close enough because we need just x by itself. So I'm going to divide or multiply by a negative 1. Well, when we do that, I get x by itself, I get negative 25. But when I multiply or divide by a negative number, I have to switch the inequality sign. We end up with a greater than sign. So x needs to be greater than negative 25. So we put our negative 25, negative 24, negative 26, open dot on 25 going to the right. Now this may seem a little bit counterintuitive, but if you go back to just pure numbers, we'll do this second one on the right in a second, but if we go back and just say something like 5 is greater than 5 is greater than 2. We'll just do that. And let's say I were to multiply these by a negative 1, or divide it by a negative 1. Now I have negative 5 and negative 2. And if I kept my greater than symbol in here, I would have just changed this question to a point that it's not true anymore, because negative 5 is not greater than negative 2. It's actually less than. So in order to keep our numbers and our inequalities staying true, we must flip the sign when we multiply or divide by a negative number. So with this next one, I could also do this in just one step by multiplying by a negative 2 on each side, which means that I'm going to get an x that is less than negative 14. So we have negative 14, negative 13, negative 15, and we have an open dot going to the left. Just a few more quick examples. Remember, we do want to get our variable on that left side, so in this case we're going to divide by 3. So we get 6 is greater than r, but in order to get our variable on the left side, I have to switch everything. So I put r on the left, 6 on the right, and I switch the inequality to a less than symbol. So we have 6, 7, 5, open dot on 6 going to the left. And then we divide by 7 on each side on this second one. Get 3 is greater than x, but we flip all of that to get x is less than 3. It's much easier to graph if we have that variable on that left side, so that we can say our variable x is less than 3. So that when we put it on our number line, we can say open dot going to the ones that are less than. It's a little bit easier to use our logic. I'll just do a couple more here. Let's see, we divide by negative 4. If we divide by negative, I need to flip the sign so we have a less than or equal to now, and we have negative 7/4. So if we have negative 7 over 4, that means surrounding it a little bit bigger than that would just be, let's say, negative 1, and we have negative 2, that's a little bit smaller than that. Closed dot, and we want the ones that are smaller. Divide by a negative 5. We get x is less than or, see, I did it there. We need to switch the sign. We divided by a negative number, so we switch the sign to be a greater than or equal to. And we have -6, -5, -7, closed, dot going to the right. That should be fully closed. Okay. This is a YouTube that explains again why we switch the negative signs. Okay? We'll just do a couple more word problems here. Okay. An employment agency charges a company 15% of the salary for every position filled. What salary must a company pay a new employee for the employment agency to earn a commission of at least $6,000? Well, we can set up this equation saying 15% of how much they earn needs to be greater than or equal to $6,000 because we need it to be bigger than that $6,000. So think about solving that and plotting that. Okay? And same idea for this one. Well, I hope this is helpful for your homework and for studying.